Welcome to Cheese Make by Rome and Dmitry. Today I'm showing off 4 covers that I printed for my motorcycle named Alice. They look like this. They slide on and off in seconds and fit seamlessly with the bike. If you're curious about Alice specifically, she's a 2016 Moto Guzzi V7 2 Stone ABS. And I have a dedicated playlist for her on my other channel, Cheese Moto by Rome and Dmitry, so be sure to check that out. Anyway, as always, we'll have a problem and a solution. So let's get started.
What's up?
The problem. Stock Alice had a lot of chrome, and the hardest part was getting these chrome forks blacked out. At first, I left the problem with my mechanic. He looked into wrapping them like a tennis racket, but eventually just painted them black. They looked great, but at some point I had to take the forks out, probably to replace the steering ball bearings, and that caused a bit of a problem. So they had to sand the paint off to get the forks out. Oh well, I guess we tried. I then found some fork covers online, but they were generally universal fit and mainly for dirt bikes. Also, I didn't like the look and feel. So what did I do? You guessed it, I 3D printed my own. Let's get into that. Solution. Let's start with design. I used Blender and it took about 10 revisions to get these right. At first, I focused on the diameter. Next was thickness. I needed them thin enough to be flexible, but thick enough to be strong. And then, once I started printing full length, I had a little trouble getting them on. I quickly realized that rounding the edges near the top and bottom of the seam would make it a lot easier. So I did that. Material. I used PLA for the prototype, and I was curious how long it would last. So I just decided to use it, so I sanded it and then painted it black. It took a couple days, but had a very clean and professional look. This worked great for a couple seasons, but eventually the PLA layers started to crack. But really, the PLA lasted much longer than I initially expected. So last year I printed these again using nylon with carbon fiber and left them as is. I like the natural dark gray look, it's clean and no paint required. Also, this filament is a lot more forgiving when taking it on and off the forks. Printing. At a layer height of 0.12 millimeter, each cover takes about 14 hours and 70 grams to print. This works out to just under $10 a piece, which is a totally fair price. So I'd call that a success. Everyone liked that. Conclusion. We had a problem and we solved it. Success. I needed 4 covers for my bike and I printed some. I sometimes think that I should remove the seam and slide the forks through the covers, but that's completely unnecessary. They work fine just the way they are. So let's just leave it at that. Well guys, thanks for watching. I hope you found this informative. I will leave a link to the model in the description. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. Keep printing, you got this.